Is there something in your life you've already given up for lost? Think about it for a second. A situation you've already given up for dead. A problem you've been dragging for so many years that you no longer even expect it to be solved. A broken relationship you think is beyond repair. A dream you buried because you got tired of waiting. An illness, yours or a loved one's, that you've already been told has no solution. We all carry something like that, something that deep in our heart we label with that terrible word, impossible. Well, today's gospel is exactly for that. Two devastated people appear, a father whose daughter has just died, and a woman sick for 12 years who had already tried everything. Two cases anyone would call lost, and both do the same thing. Instead of giving up, they approach Jesus with a faith that dares. Stay with me, because today Jesus wants to tell you that what you gave up for lost, He can still enter there. That as long as He is near, nothing is completely dead. Listen to this scene from St. Matthew. They are two miracles intertwined, and both are born of a courageous faith. While Jesus was speaking, an official came forward, knelt down before Him, and said, "My daughter has just died, but come, lay your hand on her, and she will live." Jesus rose and followed Him, and so did His disciples. A woman suffering hemorrhages for 12 years came up behind Him and touched the tassel on His cloak. She said to herself, "If only I can touch His cloak, I shall be cured." Jesus turned around and saw her and said, "Courage, daughter, your faith has saved you." And from that hour, the woman was cured. When Jesus arrived at the official's house and saw the flute players and the crowd who were making a commotion, He said, "Go away, the girl is not dead, but sleeping." And they ridiculed Him. When the crowd was put out, He came and took her by the hand, and the little girl arose. And news of this spread throughout all that land. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Notice what a brilliant way St. Matthew has of telling us this. He puts one miracle inside the other. Jesus is walking toward the official's house to attend to his dead daughter, and on the way, suddenly, this sick woman interrupts Him. As if God, going to solve an enormous problem, also had time for yours along the way. Notice, my brother, Jesus is never so busy with someone else's urgency that He has no time for you. You are never a bother to Him. You are never the one too many. Let's look at these two people, because both have something to teach us. And notice a beautiful thing before we begin. How different these two people are, and yet both find the same thing in Jesus. One is an important man, an official, with a name and a position. The other is a sick woman, poor, marginalized, who doesn't even have a name in the account. One of those no one looks at. The one on top and the one at the bottom. The respected one and the excluded one. And Jesus attends to both the same, with the same tenderness, with the same power. Because before God there are no categories, my brother. It doesn't matter whether you're someone important or whether you feel like the last, the most forgotten, the one no one takes into account. To Jesus, we are all children. We are all worth the same. He attends to us all with His whole heart. Never think that your problem is too small for God, or that you are too little a thing for Him to notice you. First, the Father. He's an official, an important man. respected, of position. And yet, look at what he does. He prostrates himself at Jesus' feet. He kneels before everyone. He sets aside his pride, his rank, what people will say. Why? Because his daughter is dying, and a father's love could do more than everything else. My brother, pain brought him to his knees, and that, as strange as it sounds, was a blessing. Because sometimes we need suffering to bring us to our knees so that we finally seek God for real. This man, on his good day, had perhaps never knelt like that. But pain led him to Jesus. And it was not with a lukewarm faith. He said something tremendous. "My daughter has just died, but come, lay your hand, and she will live." Notice, he didn't say, "Heal her before she dies." He said, "She has already died, but you can make her live." That's great faith. Faith that believes that for God, not even death is the end. And here, my brother, the first lesson for you. Don't wait to be perfect or for everything to be fine to approach God. Come like this Father, with your urgency, with your pain, with whatever you have that's broken. The most powerful prayer is not the most beautiful, but the most trusting. This man didn't say elegant words. He said a desperate plea, but full of trust. And Jesus rose and followed him. When you plead like that from the depths, Jesus also rises and goes with you. And there's something that moves me a lot about this father, my brother. He came to ask for his daughter, not for himself. He came to intercede. And this is so important because it teaches us the power of praying for others. How many times is a child saved by the tears and prayers of a mother? How many times does someone come back to God because another prayed for them in silence for years? If you have a loved one in trouble, a child who's drifted away, a sick relative, someone who is dying in some sense, do like this, Father. Go to Jesus and beg him for that person. Your prayer of intercession has enormous power before God. Sometimes we're the ones who have to kneel for those who can't or don't know how to kneel. And God listens to that love that pleads for another. And now, on the way, the woman appears. And this one I love, my brother, because she has an almost daring faith. 12 years sick. 12 years. With an illness that, besides making her suffer in her body, made her unclean according to the law of that time. That is, it left her isolated, marginalized, unable to touch anyone or be touched. 12 years of loneliness, of doctors, of spending everything she had with no result. Anyone would have given up. Not her. And she doesn't dare approach from the front because she feels unworthy. So she does something humble and brave at the same time. She comes up from behind, in the crowd, and thinks, just by touching his cloak, that's enough for me. Just to touch the edge of his garment. What humility and what great faith at the same time. And look at what happens, my brother, because it's beautiful. Among so many people pressing against Jesus, pushing him from all sides, he notices that different touch, the touch of faith. And he turns around, he looks for her, he looks at her. He doesn't leave her hidden in anonymity. He looks her in the eyes and says that tender word, "Courage, daughter, your faith has saved you." He calls her daughter. That woman who for 12 years had felt like a piece of garbage, marginalized, alone, Jesus calls daughter. with all tenderness. And he tells her it was her faith that saved her. My brother, do you realize? It wasn't the magic of the cloak. It was the faith with which she touched it. God doesn't respond to chance. He responds to faith, to the trust of the heart that approaches believing. And let me stop here for a moment, my brother, because this woman teaches us something great about constancy. 12 years. Imagine what it is to endure 12 years with something that doesn't heal, that doesn't improve, that wears you down inside and out. How many times must she have wanted to throw in the towel? How many nights must she have cried thinking, "There's no fixing this"? And yet, there she still is, seeking without completely losing hope. And one fine day she crosses paths with Jesus and doesn't let the opportunity pass. My brother, if you've been waiting for something for years asking God for the same thing without seeing an answer, don't give up. God's answer sometimes takes time, but the one who perseveres in faith, like this woman, in the end touches the cloak. We don't know the day or the hour, but God never ignores a heart that insists with trust. Perseverance in prayer is not wearing God out. It's keeping your heart open for when His moment comes. And then they arrive at the official's house, where the girl is already dead. And there are flute players, and weeping, and commotion, all that noise of death. And Jesus says something that seems absurd to everyone. She's not dead. She's sleeping. And they laugh at him. They mock him. Because the world, when it gives something up for lost, laughs at the one who still has hope. But for Jesus, my brother, that child's death is hardly more than a sleep from which He's going to wake her. He puts out those who mock. He goes in. He takes the girl by the hand, and she gets up. With the same simplicity a mother wakes her daughter in the morning, Jesus conquers death. And notice a most beautiful detail, my brother. Jesus takes her by the hand. He could have raised her with a word from a distance, with a gesture. But no, He draws near. He touches her. He takes her by the hand. Because that's how God is with us. He doesn't save us from a distance, coldly, but He draws near. He takes us by the hand. He comes into contact with our pain. When you're in your darkest moment, in your death, God doesn't shout orders from far away. He comes down to you and takes you by the hand to raise you up. And there's more. Notice that first Jesus put out those who were mocking. Sometimes, my brother, for God to be able to act in our life, we have to cast out from within those voices that mock our hope, those voices that say, "It's not worth it, there's nothing left to do, give up." Cast out those voices. Make room for faith, and let Jesus come in to take you by the hand. So, my brother, what do we take home today? That there are two things God loves to find in us: the faith that dares and the trust that doesn't give up. The father believed even in the face of death. The woman believed after 12 years of failures. And both touched the heart of God. To you today, Jesus says the same thing He said to them. Courage. Have trust. What you gave up for lost, that situation you buried, that old wound, that broken relationship, that impossible problem, bring it to Jesus. Not with a lukewarm faith, but with that courageous faith that says, "Lord, I know you can still do it." Because as long as Jesus is near, nothing is completely dead. Maybe it's only sleeping, waiting for him to take it by the hand. Today's task is concrete and courageous. Think of that thing you gave up for lost, the one you've already labeled deep down as impossible. And today, instead of continuing to give it up for dead, bring it to Jesus like the two in the gospel. Kneel like the Father and tell him, "Lord, this seems dead, but I believe you can still do it. Come into this part of my life." Or approach like the woman with humility and touch his cloak with your prayer. "Lord, it's enough that you touch me." And then, something important. Leave it in his hands and be patient, because God's timing is not always ours. He acts, but in his way and in his hour, always for your good. And listen, if this message gave you hope, help me get it to someone who needs it today, who is carrying something they gave up for lost. Subscribe if you haven't yet, give it a like, and share the video with that person. It may be the sign they were waiting for, not to give up. And leave me your city and your country in the comments. And if you want, write what you're handing over to Jesus today, even just a word, so I can pray for you in a special way at Mass. One more thing, important. There are fake pages using my face and my name to ask for money and promise miracles. That is not me. I will never ask you for money for a prayer. The only true channel is Light of Faith with Father David. Please be careful. Stay now for the Holy Mass of this Monday, July 6th. We offer it for you, for your family, and in a special way for all who today carry a situation that seems lost. For the sick who have been waiting for years. For those who mourn a loved one. For those who have almost no hope left. That Jesus may enter that closed room of their life and give back life. May God bless you, and don't forget, as long as Jesus is near, nothing is completely dead. Have faith, have trust. May God bless you all, today and always.